Now, disability employment services, we have a very similar service which started from the 1st of March 2010, but we had previous versions of it, for people, specifically for people with disabilities. So this is a specialist service. It's focused on employment. It's focused on outcome payments. But what it does is it guarantees, again, everybody on disability support pension, for example, is guaranteed a place in this. This only started from 1 March. So again, there's no reason why somebody on disability support pension who wants a job should not be in this service. There are no waiting lists. We used to have queues before because there were limited services. The government said, no, we're going to provide this to everybody. So we've got 2,000 sites across Australia and 224 disability employment service providers around the country. It's a little bit more complex because they're more complex people, obviously, but it's, again, much simplified. They go through the job capacity assessment as well. It's all about their capacity to work. 2 categories: disability management services are people who don't need ongoing support in the workplace. That's the difference. They're people usually with who need rehabilitation, injury, ill health, a disability. There's a funding level there, and they go through that one. And the second one, which has 2 funding levels, because there's different levels of need here, which is called the Employment Support Service. These are people with a permanent disability who do need long-term ongoing support in the workplace. And this just splits it up into 3 sort of categories: people with high ongoing support needs, moderate ongoing support needs, and one called flexible ongoing support. Flexible ongoing support's a new one. It's really important. It's for people might have mental health issues, might have episodic conditions. They're fine in the workplace for a long period of time, and then suddenly episodic condition, they need someone to go in there. This caters for that sort of service as well. So there's always a provider that the employer usually can ring up and say, please come in. It keeps a lot of people in jobs. I'll just go through all this. I'm sure I've had my time. So the next thing that I'll just get onto is the other really important element, and you learn it certainly through a global recession, is that you need place-based solutions. And this just shows that we've got considerable variation in regional unemployment rates. Although the national unemployment rate's low, you can get very high spikes. And you need more than just the normal service to try and help there. You need sort of a wraparound service approach. So, we drew from our New Zealand friends, and I thank Patricia for this, and New Zealand runs a very good model in that context, place-based model wraparound service called Community Link. We have the task force that I'm running. One of the key things that we've been doing is implementing that in a number of Centrelink offices in Australia. We've actually rolled it out to 3 Centrelink offices, and there's one more to go next week. And we're going to run with that for a while and see how we go. But what it does is it brings into the Centrelink office government and non-government organisations. So we've got people like health and housing and mental health and drug and alcohol, and our employment service providers, obviously, disability employment services as well, in the Centrelink office in these locations, just like Community Link does it. And it's, in the first few weeks, it's been great. I did substantial consultations, obviously, around the country initially to sort of see the mood for this, and it was overwhelmingly supportive. And going live on the ground has been just as good. And what we're doing is we've identified 2 really key priority groups for this as well. Anyone that needs the service will get it, but we're focused particularly on the 5-year plus unemployed and disadvantaged youth as 2 key target groups. Just the pictures. And lastly, another exciting thing which we are linking into Community Link is it's called a Disability Support Pension Workplace Re-engagement Strategy. This is starting on 1 July. We're still trying to work out how to convince people on disability support pension to take up the services which are available and then ultimately get into employment. Because it's all voluntary for disability support pensioners, that's the hardest thing to do. There's a trial that's starting on 1 July, 16,000 participants a year. They're going to get called in when they're first granted disability support pension, because that's the time to try and convince them that employment is a good thing and that there's the services there. And then call them back again at 3 months and at 12 months. And it's all about convincing them to use the services there, convincing them that there are very good concessions available, including you can test the workforce for 2 years and you're free to come back to your benefit if it doesn't work out for any reason, and trying to get more disability support pensioners connected to that. Where we've got the Community Link equivalent offices, we're going to run it out of there. That's it. Thank you. Sorry, it was a rush.